yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. The process.
Welcome into the process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I'm your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. Go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. Stay updated on everything Alabama football and everything Alabama football recruiting with the process. And yours truly on this episode of the process, I wanted to take a look at Alabama's 2021 recruiting class and where things currently stands with some of Alabama's commits. I'm going to break down each Alabama commit, some of the things that they bring to the table. Also take a look at some guys who could announce their verbal commitment to Alabama in the future. So I just want to take a look at Alabama's 2021 recruiting class because in my mind, I think this class has the potential to be a pretty nice class once things really wrapped up. Despite a slow start, I think this class could be a class that could rival some of Alabama's top recruiting classes in the past. So I wanted to break down those guys on this episode of the process. But before I get a chance to break down that, dive deeper into Alabama's 2021 recruiting class, I do have a couple of recruiting updates to hit you guys with. So we're going to dive into those updates right now. So with that being said, let's get the process started. As many of you know, I got a chance to travel to Florida on this past weekend. I got a chance to catch up with some of Alabama's top targets and future recruiting classes, including 2023 defensive end Derek LeBlanc, who has more than 35 Division I offers at the moment. He did compete at the camp. It was pretty impressive. I think this kid has an opportunity to compete for the number one spot in the entire 2023 recruiting class just based off his size right now and some of the things he can do with his size and some of the potential that he shows on film. You guys can check out that interview that I did with LeBlanc on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. I got a chance to do a video interview with them. I also caught up with 2023 defensive tackle John Walker, who also has an offer from the University of Alabama. I did an article on him. You guys can check out that article on touchdownalabama.com. The link will be in the description of this video as well. I also caught up with 2022 running back Kedrick DeBrun out of Florida as well, Havana, Florida. I got a chance to catch up with him at the camp. One of the bigger backs in the 2022 recruiting class that Alabama has offered. I will drop the link to his article in the description of this video as well. So I got a chance to catch up with some of Alabama's targets in future recruiting classes, but I also got a chance to catch up with Alabama's newest commit and 4-star wide receiver Christian Leary. You guys check out that interview on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page as well. In my mind, Leary is a very bright kid, a kid who's has a definitely a great character, a kid who's willing to talk, willing to discuss his commitment to Alabama. Was really excited about his commitment to Alabama, especially the fit that he feels he fit in with Alabama's wide receiver groups and what they like to do with their wide receivers. Be sure to check out that interview on our YouTube page as well. But looking at Alabama's other targets in the 2021 recruiting class, 4-star linebacker Dallas Turner announced that he will announce his verbal commitment on July 1st, and Alabama is in the mix to possibly grab his commitment. I did get a chance to contact his father, DeLon Turner, on last month and do an interview with him. And their family seems sold on the University of Alabama, not just the football side, but the academic side. And I talked about that in the past. So I think Alabama is in a good position with that Florida product, especially with the amount of Florida products Alabama has brought in over the last couple of years and the 3 Florida prospects Alabama has committed in the 2021 recruiting class. So Dallas Turner will announce his commitment on July 1st. So be sure to stay updated on his commitment decision on touchdownalabama.com. Alabama is also continuing to extend offers like they do always. They recently extended an offer to 2022 4-star defensive end Hewitt Trustfield product Justin Finkley. Guys, check out that article and his reaction to receiving the offer from the University of Alabama on touchdownalabama.com. As always, the link will be in the description of this video as well. I got a chance to see Justin Finkley in action a lot of times over the last couple of years, just based off Alabama continuing to extend offers to Hewitt Trustfield products, pulling in 2 in the 2019 class and also pulling in Malachi Moore in the 2020 recruiting cycle. So Justin Finkley does have an offer from the University of Alabama. You guys can check out the article in the description of this video. And those are a couple of updates that I wanted to provide you guys with. I am going to roll into Alabama's 2021 recruiting class, breaking down why I feel this class is possibly going to be scary good. Alabama's 2021 recruiting class currently stands at 8 commits at the moment, with 4 offensive commits and 4 defensive commits. And one of the reasons I really believe this class can be scary good is based on the commits that Alabama currently have in the 2021 recruiting class, based off the talent that those guys bring to the table. And I wanted to break down each guy first. And the first guy I want to talk about is Deontay Lawson, the 4-star linebacker out of Mobile Christian School in Mobile, Alabama. At 6'3", he's taller than your traditional inside linebacker, which is the position I think Alabama will most likely play him at the next level. He's really athletic, and this athleticism is used all over the football field at Mobile Christian School, including wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball, and he even plays a little bit of wildcat quarterback, trying to get the ball in his hands so he can show off that athleticism. And when you look at Deontay Lawson, I think one of the things that is really impressive about him, especially at the inside linebacker position, is his patience is in his closing speed, and I think that really pops out on film. When you see him on film, you can see that he's patient. He doesn't just run in just trying to wreak havoc all the time. He's patient, and I think that patience really shows off. And once he sees where the football is going, once he sees where the play is designed to go, really attacks, and he shows off that closing speed with that lengthy frame. So Alabama's getting an aggressive kid with a lot of patience, but he also has some great closing speed in Deontay Lawson, the 4-star linebacker out of Mobile Christian School. Staying in the inside linebacker group and also staying on the defensive side of the football, when you look at Alabama's other linebacker commit, Ian Jackson, the 4-star linebacker out of Prattville High School in Prattville, Alabama, one of the more versatile kids in the entire 2021 recruiting class. When you look at a guy who could play outside linebacker, rush from the edge, play inside linebacker, and also play defensive back. He originally started off as a safety during his first year of high school football, and then once his body began to mature, Prattville High School and Caleb Ross, head coach of the Prattville Lions, moved him up to the outside linebacker position and allowed him to rush off the edge. And Ross told me that Jackson really flourished at that position. He showed what he can do naturally, some things that came natural for him rushing off the edge, and that's something that's shown on his highlight film. He's comfortable in coverage, and he's comfortable also rushing from the edge. He's so versatile, easily, like I said, one of the more versatile kids in this entire 2021 recruiting class. And this is a huge pickup for Alabama, because there's going to be so many different positions that Alabama could possibly play him at once he enrolls into the University of Alabama. Moving to the secondary now, we look at Alabama's only defensive back commit in the 2021 recruiting class at this moment in Kane Williams, the 4-star safety out of Louisiana. A guy who stands at 6'2" and weighs 205 pounds. One of the bigger safety prospects in the 2021 recruiting class. A guy who has the size to model a running back, a nice size running back at 6'2" and 205 pounds. I think this is a guy who can really flourish and develop into a safety that could really play closer to the line of scrimmage. A guy who can play inside the box. He's a guy who's not afraid to tackle, a guy who's not afraid to make those big hits. And with his size, I think he can really lay the wheel with some good force once he develops a little bit more. He's not the fastest kid, but I think he has a lot of potential at that safety position. So Kane Williams is Alabama's only defensive back committed at the moment, at a position where Alabama could land a good number of guys in this 2021 recruiting class, but Kane Williams is a nice start. Anquan Barnes, a 2021 3-star defensive tackle out of Montgomery, Alabama. By the way, Lee Montgomery High School is Alabama's 4th defensive commit in the 2021 class. When you look at Barnes, he's a massive kid at 6'6" and weighing more than 300 pounds. This guy really carries that 300 pounds really well in my mind. This is a guy who could possibly grow and develop into a great defensive lineman if he could add a bit more twitchiness to his game and just get a bit more quicker off the snap. That may mean him dropping a couple of pounds to add that to his game, but I think once he adds that to his game, I think that is where he's gonna really flourish and really develop into something special at the capstone if he keeps his commitment to the University of Alabama. I think that's one of the reasons that Alabama's coach staff is excited to have him verbally committed to them in the 2021 class. But he does have some things that he does show off on tape, just his size and moving well with that size, using his size to fight off offensive linemen, not afraid to use his hands. So he has some potential, and I think once he adds that to his game, I think he's going to really make that jump. Switching gears to the offensive side of the football, of course, Alabama has 3 of the top wide receivers in this country, and 3 of the top wide receivers from the state of Florida are already verbally committed. When you look at Aijay Hall being the first guy who announced his verbal commitment to Alabama at the wide receiver position. Aijay Hall is a guy who's a bit skinnier, has a bit of a linear frame at 6'3", but he's a guy who has a lot of speed when he has the football in his hands. And I think that is something that really makes him special, and I think that is one of the reasons that Alabama really likes this kid. they're bringing in a lengthy wide receiver, a kid who can really make some moves in the open field. And I think he also is very explosive with the football in his hands in terms of making guys miss in the open field. A second wide receiver commit to the University of Alabama is Ja'Corey Brooks, the wide receiver out of Miami, Florida. When you look at Ja'Corey Brooks, he's a guy who stands at 6'3", 6'4". He has a similar frame to A.J. Hall when you're talking about height, but he has a bit more muscle and a bit more strength than A.J. Hall. When you look at Ja'Corey Brooks, he's a kid who plays with a bit of aggressiveness. He's a kid that's athletic. Getting a chance to talk with some of the coaches that have competed against him in Florida, they always talked about his athleticism, talked about him being a guy that is just built different. So this is Alabama's second wide receiver commit, of course, and this is a great get for Alabama. But I think his speed is underrated. I think this guy can make moves in open field as well. As you guys can see by watching his film, high school likes to give him the ball in open space, give him the ball with the screen passes, giving him the ball and watching him go to work. So Ja'Corey Brooks is a nice pickup for Alabama. I really like the way he goes after the football when it's in the air for those 50-50 balls, catching them at the highest point. Moving to Christian Leary, Alabama's newest commit in the 2021 recruiting class. This is quite possibly the fastest guy in the country at 5'9", weighing in between 185 and 190 pounds. He's a guy who has a thick frame. When you look at this kid, you wouldn't think he runs that fast, but he's reportedly told me in the interview that I did with him on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page that he ran a 4.39 in the 40-yard dash before. And when you look at his film, you could tell that that is a possibility just based off what he does on the field, just the separation he creates in the open field. And when you see a guy that stands at his size and that muscle that he has and that body frame that he has, you can tell he's a guy, once he gets that speed going in his frame, he's going to be hard to tackle in the open field as well. And just that one cut, having the ability to make that one cut and just go, that's one of the things that Cameron Duke, the head coach of Edgewater High School, told me that Christian Leary learned how to run during his junior season, knowing what type of runner he was, a guy who has the ability to make that one cut and just get off and go. And I think that is something that Christian Leary has really used to his advantage during his junior season. He's going to really use that to his advantage during his senior season as well. Quite possibly, as I said, the fastest guy in the country. Alabama's fourth commit on the offensive side of football is J.C. Latham, the 6'6", 300-pound offensive lineman out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. This is a kid who's really athletic, really agile at the offensive line position, has a nice jump off the football when he's pass blocking. I think his agility and his mobility really makes him hard to get around at the offensive tackle position when you're talking about a defensive end trying to rush off the edge and get to the quarterback and possibly make a sack on the quarterback at IMG Academy. But getting a chance to talk with Bobby Acosta, the head coach at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, he did tell me that he really likes Latham's agility, just showing that he's a kid who could possibly easily play running back just based off how agile he is at 300 pounds. So Alabama is getting a mobile offensive lineman in J.C. Latham, who currently stands at 6'6" and weighs more than 300 pounds at this very moment, a lean 300 pounds at that. Going to the other reasons why Alabama's 2021 recruiting class can really be really good is we look at the guys that are currently still on the board. Going to the defensive back position, which is the position I think Alabama's board is the most deep at the moment. When you look at Terrion Arnold, the 4-star defensive back out of Tallahassee, Florida, looks to be a guy Alabama's is in a good position for. JaQuincy McKinstry, the 5-star athlete out of Pinson Valley High School in Pinson, Alabama, and Jason Marshall Jr., the 5-star cornerback out of Miami, Florida. Alabama is in his top 3. He has been tweeting out a lot of Alabama things recently. Alabama is still in the mix with him. Of course, Alabama is also still in the mix for Kamari Lassiter, a guy just to keep your eye on, a 4-star defensive back who currently plays for American Christian Academy in Tuscaloosa, Alabama is still in the mix for their former commit in 2021, 4-star defensive back Trell McCutcheon. So the defensive back group is really deep on Alabama's recruiting board, going to the JUCO ranks. When you look at Dijon Warren, also the guy who also another JUCO product. When you look at Kyrie Jackson out of East Mississippi Community College, so the defensive back group is really deep when you look at Alabama's recruiting board. And if Alabama can get a combination of those guys I just named, this can really be a strong defensive defensive back group for the University of Alabama. Going to the linebacker position, Alabama already has Ian Jackson committed. They have Deontay Lawson committed. As I said, Dallas Turner is expected to announce his commitment on July 1st. Alabama is in a good position with them. Kendrick Blackshear, 4-star linebacker out of Texas. Alabama still looks to be in a great position with them as well. If Alabama can land possibly those two guys, the linebacker group is only going to get stronger. When you look at defensive line position, of course, Alabama is still pushing for 4-star defensive tackle Tim Kenyon out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, Alabama, possibly adding another defensive tackle from the Birmingham area to the Alabama Crimson Tide in their 2021 recruiting class. Also at the linebacker position that I didn't talk about, Jeremiah Williams, the teammate of Tim Kenyon III out of Ramsey High School, another Birmingham product. Alabama is after it at outside linebacker position. Of course, Alabama still after a couple of more defensive linemen. Looking at Demond Payne, another guy to keep your eyes on when it comes to Alabama's push for defensive linemen in the 2021 recruiting class. And if Alabama can land a combination of the guys I just named, this class has an opportunity to be even stronger. But going to the offensive side of football, Alabama currently has 3 wide receivers committed in A.J. Hodge, Corey Brooks, and Christian Leary. But well, if they pick up Malcolm Johnson, a 4-star wide receiver out of Maryland, who's still considering Alabama, another speedy wide receiver who really can compete against Christian Leary, possibly for the title of the fastest player in the country. Looking at Brian Thomas, another lengthy wide receiver at 6'4", who's going to bring another lengthy wide receiver in this 2021 recruiting class. A guy who can play football and basketball at the next level. And Brian Thomas, of course, out of Louisiana. Going to the offensive line position, Alabama is far from done with the offensive line position in the 2021 recruiting class. This is a position where Alabama could possibly pull in 4 to 5 guys. Brockermeyer twins are still on the board. Also, Amarius Mims, a 5-star offensive lineman, is still on the board out of Georgia. T.J. Ferguson, another offensive lineman out of Georgia, is still on the board. Jagger Burden, another offensive lineman with Alabama, is still recruiting hard in the 2021 recruiting cycle. Quarterback position is a bit of a question mark for Alabama, but I think some more names could start to emerge. Of course, they offered Luke Altmyer, the 4-star quarterback, who's currently a Florida State commit. They're still pushing for Jalen Miro, the Texas commit, who really showed a lot of interest in the University of Alabama before he announced his commitment to Texas. Those are 2 names to keep an eye on when it comes to the quarterback position. Moving to the running back position, of course, Alabama still after Donovan Edwards, the 4-star running back out of Michigan. Also still after Kamar Wheaton, another running back in the 2021 recruiting class. You also can throw Kyrie Young, a running back, in that mix as well. Another guy who told me he really likes the University of Alabama. So this class still has an opportunity to be pretty good if Alabama could get a combination of those guys. So more names could start to emerge, some names that may not even be talked about at this moment. Alabama may pick up the push for those guys later in this recruiting cycle. But this class has an opportunity to be scary good, as I said. They will put a bow on this episode of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me on our YouTube page. Go ahead and subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube. Stay updated on everything Alabama football. Download the Touchdown Alabama app. It is located in the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. Be sure to download that app on all of your mobile devices. Also, pick up a subscription to TouchdownAlabama.com. With that subscription, you'll be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles, all of our recruiting scouting reports, also read a breakdown of our draft projections for each Alabama player that is eligible for the NFL draft for each season. So be sure to subscribe to TouchdownAlabama.com. You also get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue for free once you subscribe to TouchdownAlabama.com. So thank you guys so much for watching The Process. Always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.